Hey guys, it's Marla at Twinstrology. Welcome back. This is a reading for those on the path of divine love. Twin flames, twin souls, sacred union, soulmates, whatever term you resonate with, even if you're on the ascension path, this is a reading about trying to reach that place of higher love in conjunction with the energies right now. So it's a general reading. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Before I get started, I want to just show you guys my shirt. It says grow a pair, and it has angel wings on it. And my friend Dana makes these, and she graciously sent me one. And I thought this week is the perfect week for me to wear this shirt, because it's a week where we're kind of being asked to grow a pair. We have some challenging energy coming in, and if you watched my astrology report that I posted a couple days ago, you understand what I'm talking about. If you haven't watched it, I hope that you will watch it. So there's some challenging things coming in. We have a full moon in Libra tomorrow, the second full moon in Libra this month. Well, technically last month we had the other one. We have Mercury and Venus both conjuncting with Chiron. We have the Sun conjuncting Uranus, and we have Saturn conjuncting the South Node as well as Pluto. But Saturn and the South Node are going to be making their exact conjunction. So there's some challenging energy. And from talking to you guys, I know that you're already feeling it, and there's already a lot of triggers, pain being activated. So I want to just try and bring in an awareness of what is going on energetically for everyone. The overall energy for unions at this time is the card miscommunication. Again, another interesting card. But I want to take this card deeper than the word miscommunication. Now, for some of you, there is definitely miscommunication going on. But what the energy is like right now is you and your partner may be feeling at odds with each other. Like you're not even on the same path. You might be wondering, is this my twin? Because it seems like they don't have a clue, or they're not involved in this process at all. Or, they're from your point of view, they are acting resistant to the relationship. And there's a lot of this tension between the two. And, that's definitely what I'm getting from the people that I'm talking with as well. It's like, even for some people, it seemed like, wow, everything's going great. And they were having connection with their twin, and they were having, it seemed like they were gaining ground. And then all of a sudden it was like something came in, and it was like, what the hell? Is this even ever going to happen? Because it seems like we're just too different, or we're too on the same page, or we're too on different pages. It doesn't seem like our lives are aligning at all. And that's very triggering at the moment. It's that sense of division, and it's bringing up a sense of distrust in the situation, distrust in each other. And it's definitely triggering egos. And the miscommunication here is that they're arguing. He's seeing 9 and she's seeing 6. And if we look at the number on the table from each perspective, they're actually seeing clearly. They're seeing the right number for them. And I think that we have to really embrace the idea right now that each partner is on the right path for them. This comes up a lot when I'm doing astrology readings for people, is that there's karma there, and part of that karma is you're judging the other person's path. And you might be judging it in the moment, or you might be judging it more long term, but you're saying, your path isn't aligned. I'm on the right path and you're not. And the other person might be saying, you're crazy. Like, I know that I'm doing the right thing. I don't know what you're talking about. And for each of you, that's actually the case. You actually are doing what you need for yourself. And you have to try and stop judging the path that the other person is on. And at this moment, it may seem like your paths are taking you in opposite directions. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Part of ascension, part of growing our wings, is that we stop judging. We stop making these judgments on everything, because judgment is ego. Judgment is what gets us into miscommunication. As human beings, we're constantly judging. The truth is, you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen next week. You don't know what's going to happen next month. You don't know what's going to happen next year. So you're making judgments on something that you don't even know the answer to. And that is causing a lot of this feeling of misalignment. Now, it's okay to feel this way, because we're in a massive release this week, a massive release of old energy. And that's why the triggers are happening. That's why it's important not to judge, because you're just part of a greater collective releasing energy, as is your partner. And the triggers come, they create the release, and then it creates a clearing in the energy, and we can shift. If our energy is stagnant, we can't shift. We can't evolve if we're stagnant. So we have to go through these clearings. Now, someone wrote to me, commented on one of my videos recently, how, we shouldn't be always talking about releasing, and it's bad, and all of that. And how I responded is that the releasing has to happen. You cannot shift, you cannot ascend, you cannot find balance unless you release. But the pain of the releasing is optional. And that's where your wings need to come in. Because you don't need to sit there and suffer. You can choose differently. You can choose to not feel that. And some of you may not understand that at the moment, that you can do that. But speaking from experience, you can. As we ascend, we leave our ego. Now, we don't totally leave our ego. Don't start writing into me. We need an ego. We need the right amount of ego. But it's a lot of ego that puts us in this position of judgment and pointing fingers, feeling like the other person's wrong, having distrust. That's all coming from your ego. But if you step outside of your ego for a moment and see a bigger perspective, you're going to see that the ego information, what the ego is trying to trigger in you is all an illusion. You know, I had my own triggering experience recently, and I was able to step out of it. I just said to myself, I'm not going to choose to put myself through an experience of pain. I'm going to choose higher. I'm going to see through this illusion, and I'm going to focus on a bigger picture. That's what this energy is calling for you to do. And sometimes you may have more success with that than others. And within the process of this coming week, as you release whatever you need to release, you may have, 1 minute you may have an easy time with it. The next minute you may be feeling down again. The other thing that we have to remember is, as we're going through this collective release, is that we're all empathic, we're all connected, and we're all feeling each other. So a lot of the feelings that we're expressing is not just coming from within, but from the greater collective energies. The card from the Ascended Masters that I pulled for the overall energy of unions is Buddha, increased awareness, deep connection, trust your inner voice. Now, some of these I'm going to read a little bit from, which I don't normally do, but I think some of them say things very well. It says, you're moving beyond the illusion that fear has created so that you can be more focused on your priorities and what is serving your path. All suffering eventually comes to an end, and acknowledging how you really feel and what occurred in order for you to feel this way will help you move beyond it. Call on Buddha now to help you remember you're part of something that is greater than suffering. The wheel of karma is turning in your favor, and all your acts of kindness and goodness will benefit you. Thoughts may arise now that solve issues in your life, home, relationships, or work. They are being sent to you from your inner teacher, the Buddha within. Now there's a lot of information in there. You're moving beyond the illusion of fear, and it's the ego that creates these illusions of fear. So you have grown enough by now that you can begin to call out your ego when you see it, and to try to move past it. We're right now, over the next couple weeks, a lot of the energy is focused on activating your higher mind. So trying to bypass the ego and move into this higher state of consciousness, this higher increased awareness. Suffering eventually comes to an end. We have to remember that. We go through periods of releasing, and it brings up suffering, but it always ends. The wheel of karma is turning in your favor, and all your acts of kindness and goodness will benefit you. This is something important because, as I said, Saturn is on the south node. This is a double dose of karma. And a lot of the energy, a lot of the triggers, a lot of what's happening is related to karma. Karmic situations that have to be played out. We cannot bypass karma in the sense of, I take that back. We may have to live out these repeating situations, but the situation can be changed by your reaction to it. This is how we break karma, how we end it. We no longer need that lesson. So whatever is triggering you, when you can step out of that and choose a higher consciousness point of view, you're then breaking that karma. And you're saying, I don't need this lesson anymore. I've got it. So that's where the increased awareness is going to help you. It's definitely a good time to be in stillness, to be in meditation, Because when you're in that energy, you're able to transcend your ego easier. You're able to see the bigger picture, and you're able to hear your higher self more clearly. So I pulled a card to just let us know why this energy is happening. And I got Thoth, God of Wisdom. And the message of this card is reminding us about the 144 and why we're here. And it's telling us that there's an activation happening. There's an initiation process happening within. We say the 144, but all of us on the ascension path are carrying this energy of the 144, higher consciousness, Christ consciousness, divine love. We're clearing, as I said, we're clearing energy out of our mind so that we can access higher parts of our mind, higher wisdom. We have Mercury, right, going over Chiron, which I talked about, as well as Uranus in a conjunction with the Sun. These are helping us activate our higher mind. We have to clear some of the lower vibrational thoughts or egoic thoughts out of the way in order to access this better. Therefore, we're getting triggered into the clearing process. So another way to look at what's happening is it's a larger ascension activation to help us expand, to help us break free of limitations. Therefore, we don't need to get so attached to whatever is going on and, go into drama, start going into our stories, the ego stories that we like to tell ourselves about how this person wronged me and this person betrayed me. And if you take that higher perspective, you'll see that, we can only act from our level of consciousness. And we're not always fully conscious, and the other person is not fully conscious always. Again, we talk a lot in the community about the masculine and feminine and who is more conscious, and we try to be all politically correct, and the divine masculine is conscious too. And yes, of course, the divine aspects of us are always higher, are always in our higher consciousness. Our divine feminine is always in her higher consciousness, and our inner divine masculine is always in his higher consciousness. But you, the human person, the 3D person, is not always in your divine consciousness. Sometimes you're in your ego consciousness. Sometimes your partner is in their ego consciousness. For some, it could be that the karma that is playing out in their life at this time requires them to not be acting from their higher consciousness. They have not transcended fully the patterns that they need to transcend. And so we need this trigger to show us what we're doing wrong. You see, guys, without the triggers, without the clearing, without something to push against, how can you transcend? If nothing changes, if everything stays stagnant, everything's wonderful in your life, then you would just stay the same. And we can't stay the same right now. We have to transcend. So we're being triggered into old patterns. And it's an opportunity for you to choose not to display that pattern anymore. And by doing that, you choose a higher timeline. You elevate yourself. You expand your awareness. You expand the opportunities, the timelines that are available to you. So focus on that bigger picture. Now, what's challenging unions at this time is separation. I'm sorry, this is actually what's positive in our unions. Now, again, I think this card came up recently in this place in another reading that we did. Again, what I just said about how we need to enact old patterns, we need to be given an opportunity to move past. So this idea of separation, this idea of differences, the idea that you are on two separate paths, the distrust, all of these things are coming up right now. So you can choose how to respond to it. So you can see where it is. Where am I creating this feeling of separation? Where am I creating pain for myself? Where am I feeling like I'm going to be hurt, where I'm going to be let down, where I'm going to be abandoned? See it so you can move beyond it. It's a little bit of an inner battle going on. And it's a little bit of an inner battle between... Okay, sorry, I accidentally shut my computer off. So it's an inner battle right now between your soul and the ego. And an opportunity for you to allow your soul, your higher self, to take charge right now. And that's being echoed by the Ascended Master card, which is the Shekinah, the sacred self. Unleash your spirit, express your gifts, dance to the rhythm of life. See who you really are. As we break through these limitations, we're allowing the true vastness of ourselves to come through. We are much more than these physical bodies and our thoughts. Our thoughts are very limiting. So we're stepping into our divineness. So while we're feeling the separation is Yeshua, God of unity. Right? So you're definitely saying you want to move on the feeling of separation. You have to feel the other person inside of you. Feel your own inner divine masculine and feminine. Feel the God, goddess within you, however you want to express it. It's trying to help us get to that place of unity, of oneness. Not just with our partner, but with all that is. And your ego wants to keep you in fear. It doesn't want... It has a lot of false beliefs about oneness. And we're needing to break through those. And step into our Christ consciousness, which for those of you who, get triggered by that, it's Christ consciousness is beyond Yeshua. Christ consciousness is higher consciousness. It's the energy of love. And that's what you're needing to do now with your partner. Despite everything, you may not, depending on what's going on in your situation, maybe you can't fully find love Can you find forgiveness? Can you find understanding, compassion? Can you set aside judgments of what is happening just for a bit? What challenges unions is inner child. Well, we could talk a long time about the inner child. But this idea of separation, this idea of having to argue, of being at odds, it's all stemming from this, your wound. And one of the ways that we can consider Chiron, who's very active this week, is representing this wound in us, a core wound that often comes when we are a child. I was reading something yesterday that explained this so well, so I'm going to try to remember it. And it's from the astrologer Mark Jones, and he was saying how when we're children, we're very innocent, and we look to our mother and father for love and for nurturance. But most of us don't have mothers and fathers that can really give that to us. And we, as children, take that on ourselves. And we feel like, if only I was better, if only I was more, then my parents would have loved me more. My parents would have given me that more. I think he said, like, you feel like you weren't able to trigger something within your parent to get them to show you this love that you needed. And this follows us around, this energy. And it's a multidimensional energy. As Chiron represents a multidimensional energy, and the pains, the wounds that we've suffered throughout our incarnations. But as you see, it's like the children want love. The child in you is searching for love. But you're afraid because someone hurt you. Your mother and father hurt you. That first girlfriend or boyfriend hurt you. Your exes hurt you. Your friends hurt you. People have quote unquote betrayed you. People have abandoned you. Again, a lot of this is it's an ego protection. I mentioned this in my other video. It's like we develop coping mechanisms when we are young and we get hurt, or in other lifetimes where we've suffered a lot. We've developed these coping mechanisms, and those mechanisms stay with us even when they're no longer needed or no longer desired. They still are there. And that's why, like, the inner you wants the love, but the outer you, the 3D you, is like, oh no, I'm not going to do that because that's going to open up me to hurt. I'm going to get let down. There's so much expectation, especially around these divine unions. There's a whole lot of expectation, way too much. And when your ego's triggered, you're going to see, or hopefully you're going to see, that a lot of the suffering is coming because you had some kind of expectation, and then that expectation is not being met. And it hurts. And you want to blame the other person. But instead, we're being asked to say, it was my expectation that hurt me. And to love anyways. At least open our hearts anyways. The card about this is Horus, Cosmic Portal, Cosmic Gateway. Your thoughts are magnetic and powerful. Miraculous changes are occurring. What you really can't see is that throughout this activation of the coming weeks, you're healing a lot. It's a divinely planned cosmic gateway to help you shed unnecessary parts of your ego, your subconscious, your wounds. Because when I asked about, what is the inner child representing here for us as the challenge, it's communion. It's saying we all want love. We all just want to be loved. Whether it's you or your partner. We all just want love, and yet we're all afraid on some level. And at the moment, I think a lot of people are just acting out of fear. And we have to remember that. And we have to move beyond it. And that's where the compassion comes in. We're all one, we're all human, we're all having this experience. We all have our own crosses to bear. We have to not allow the past to stop us in the present or the future. Because that's what happens with that inner child energy. The hurts from the past, we project into the future. And it stops us from doing things because we think that what happened in the past is going to happen in the future. Or even the thought that it could happen keeps us in that state of self-protection, of closure. Feelings of being different, too. And some of this might be coming up not just with your partner, but in your family, with your friends. Just inner fears, inner anxieties. For some of you, you won't even get a trigger from your twin. But it could just be that, you start thinking of something. This can happen a lot, especially with Venus Chiron. You just start thinking about something that someone did to you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It doesn't matter. That thought comes into your head and you start dwelling on it and you start creating all the drama around it. And that becomes your trigger. It doesn't have to come from outside of you. It's still helping you release. I talk a lot about how the past pain has built this wall up in front of our hearts, and we have to dismantle that wall. So what are we healing right now? Transcendence. Again, we're growing a pair. We're growing our wings right now. Look at the energy of this card, right? She's kind of, maybe not like that. She's huddled up. I'm holding on. I'm holding on to this and I'm not letting go. And we're small and we're limited. We are not in flow. We're in tension. And if we just surrender, if we just let go, we don't hold it anymore. We just drop whatever it is. We're free. We're light. We've transcended. We've let something go. This whole year has been about intensely letting things go on every level. For those of you that have watched my videos for a while, you might notice that my living room is different. I've got rid of about 80% of the furniture I had and bought new furniture. And I've been redecorating. That's one way. And I know that I mentioned that because some other people have mentioned that too. Attachment to the past. A lot of the furniture that I had before, for example, was passed down to me. And I started looking at it and saying, that really doesn't reflect me. I don't need it anymore. I have to let go, cut cords with this, whether it belonged to my mother or my grandmother or whoever. Changing your lifestyle. There's everything that you change, no matter how small, is creating this expansion in your life, allowing you to transcend higher and higher. Higher you go, the higher your timelines, the more opportunities you have. This isn't going to help you right now. You've got to do this. Like hands off universe. I'm surrendering. Whatever you want. I'm just going to go with the flow. Now, surrendering. If I had $1 for every time I thought I had surrendered enough, I would be rich. And I hear it from you guys all the time. Well, I've surrendered. Have you really? Have you really, really, absolutely surrendered? I think you'll find that you haven't in a lot of ways. Because if you had, this wouldn't be bothering you right now. If you're feeling like you're at odds, if you're not on the same page, if you're, you wouldn't be feeling that. Because when you're when you're transcended, it doesn't get to you. It's a non-judgment, non-attachment state of mind. You just acknowledge that it's there. And you try to see that bigger picture, the higher picture. You can see this as higher self, your connection to your higher self. A lot of what comes down to this energy right now is, do you trust your higher self? Do you trust the universe? Are you fully surrendered? When we put so much focus and attention on what the other person is doing, that's not surrender. There needs to be some changes in the twin flame community. There will be changes in the twin flame community. That's how I'm going to say it, because the whole collective energy has to now ascend from where it's at. Because there's too much focus on the other person. And what they're telling me is, well, we're here talking about moving into our higher thoughts, our higher mind. When you focus all your attention on what your twin's doing and your twin's karmic partner and what they're doing and what their life is like, where your thoughts are is where your energy goes. We're feeding that energy all the time. We're getting the opposite effect of what we really want by struggling with it, by worrying about it, by constantly talking about it in videos. And I've been guilty of that as well. But now we're reaching a higher level of consciousness. We're moving into that space where we understand now. I think, we're all aware that our thoughts create our reality. We all have memes that we share all the time about it, and we all talk about it. But are we really living it? Because I feel like the message that's coming through from the masters is we're really not. We're still going round and round, thinking, worrying, talking about that which we don't want anymore. And so it's a time for us to rise above all of that. The master here is Ashtar. Call to action. Take charge. Lead by example. Walk your talk. I should have read this card before I said that, but yeah, it's like we in the spiritual community, we have to live what we preach. And this is all stuff that we preach all the time. All the stuff that I'm saying here is not anything that you guys don't already know, don't already say yourself. But somewhere we're disconnected in the actual knowing it and acting on it. And so this block of energy is giving us an opportunity to lead by example. I'm just going to see what this card from Commander Ashtar says. You are receiving a call to action and being asked to step up and create the changes you want to see in the world. Divine inspiration is all around you, and Ashtar and his legion of cosmic angels are standing by to offer you loving support. Know that you're being encouraged to be honest, assertive, and true in a loving way. You may feel your ego trying to hold you back, but know that when you take the first step, the next one will soon follow. Take some time to connect with the universe by looking up at the stars, knowing that you are loving beings of light, knowing that there are loving beings of light gazing back down at you. You are not alone. You may feel your ego trying to hold you back, but when you take the first step, the next one will follow. A lot of times we worry and we think, how do I do this? I don't know how. I don't know how to shed this pattern. I don't know how to move past my ego triggers. And this message here from Ashtar is, you're doing it. If you bring awareness to it, you are doing it. So when you're being triggered, if you can just, take some time to meditate and try to just try to surrender to it for a moment. Just acknowledging it's there, just seeing that, and Eckhart Tolle teaches that. The moment that you see the ego, or the moment that you realize that you're acting from a place that isn't the true you, the divine you that lives within you, then you're already breaking it. You're already moving past it. You're already healing it. But yeah, the cosmic gateway, it's a call to action for us, for the 144 and for all of us ascending. No matter what part of the ascension process, no matter what role we have here, we're getting called now. It's time to step up. It's time to move on to this next level. The other thing that we're healing is Mary Magdalene, goddess of strength. We need to move into our hearts. We need to move into the divine feminine energy right now. If you'll notice, guys, I'm not talking about divine feminine, divine masculine in this reading, because we are one. We're all trying to do the same thing. Instead of constantly trying to see that we're somehow have a different purpose, or we're totally focusing on different things, we have to begin to realize we're all just one. And clearly these cards today for what we're healing, Transcendence and Mary Magdalene, Commander Ashtar, and Lady Nana, the other cards, I haven't talked about this one yet. Clearly, they're showing us the bigger picture here. And that is, we're here for love, and we're here to ascend. We're here to be love, not just find love, not just get married. We're here to embody divine love. It's what we are. It's our nature that we're trying to get back to. So Mary Magdalene is here, first of all, to say that you're strong enough to do this, but her message is also that you don't need to constantly be that pillar of strength. And there's a block in the energy when you believe that you have to be strong. It's not the divine masculine, it's more of a patriarchal or false masculine energy. And as women or as divine feminine, you are embodying that at times as well. This masculine energy of, I've got to be strong, I've got to be competent, I can't show any emotions, I have to just take care of everybody, I have to, get my checklist every day, check everything off. You're moving through life, doing this routine, not really being open, not really being conscious of things. You're not giving yourself a break. You're just going. And she's saying, stop. Be in your feminine energy. Just be. You don't need to do right now. You need to rest. You need to reflect. You need to release. When you're going through a major collective clearing like this, takes a lot of energy from all of us, because we're not only clearing ourselves, we're transmuting a lot of energy. But also, it's the divine feminine that's going to get you back to that place of trust, no matter what is going on. When you sit down, you turn into your intuition and your higher self. You're going to get the right message. It's a constant struggle on this journey between what you get on your intuition and what you get from your mind. So when my ego comes in and wants to tell me that my intuition's wrong, I have to step back and I have to say, no, I don't think so. I'm not going to believe you, ego. You're trying to get me to be afraid of something, and I don't need to be afraid. Because I am my divine self. Trust my higher self. My higher self is not going to lead me wrong. And I'm sure that you guys feel the same, in that we are manifesting stuff so rapidly. I get experiences all the time of things I'm manifesting. Manifestation comes from our heart. And that's the second card we have here, is Lady Nada, Heart Awakening. Now, Lady Nada is another incarnation of Mary Magdalene. So they have a similar message or a similar energy. They are the same energy. Lady Nada says Heart Awakening. Awaken to acceptance and divine love. Give and receive in balance. So what we're manifesting is coming through our heart. As I've said many times, that heart has to be open. The more you can open your heart, the quicker you're going to manifest things. The more that you face your fear, the quicker you're going to manifest things. Again, if you're not facing your fear, you're here. And when you're here, you're not manifesting. When you can get here, then you're really manifesting. When you don't feel like you have to protect yourself anymore. When you're not so worried. And how you get there, guys, is by doing what I'm talking about. If you keep ascending, you'll get to that point where the triggers do not affect you as hard, and you can quickly find your balance once again. Your energy is not dependent on what other people are doing around you. It's possible to get there. So things are moving in that manifestation direction rapidly, and we have to trust. Again, this is another thing we all know. The things that you want to manifest don't necessarily come how you want them to or how you're expecting them to. That's why you have to surrender. But see, what happens is, with our partners, even when we get a little bit, we start creating expectations, and there's more and more expectation. And then the expectation is not met because it was not part of the divine plan for it to be met. And then we fall apart and we go back into ego and we close down our heart and we seem to be losing ground. Of course, we can get back to where we were, but Lady Nada is saying, why go through that pain all the time? Why? We become love instead of trying to find love. We're going to find ourselves in a better place. Give and receive in balance. One of the messages that is coming through with this full moon is, are you open to receiving love? This is a lesson for us now. And going back to this, because again, here we're still in self-protection mode, and that does not allow us to be in true love, to be in that state of love. We have to be able to receive. I drew a Romance Angel card here for what we're healing, and I got this Release Your Ex. The time has come to clear your energy. Okay, well, it does tell us there's a clearing going on. This card, Release Your Ex, it's telling us that we all need to release our ex in a way that we're releasing stuff from the past. You've been thinking about your exes lately? Have you been dreaming about your exes lately? What is it that you're trying to release from them? You have to release the old patterns. Remember what I said, like that inner child is coming from the things that happened in the past. So don't just think about the current karmic. Think about everything. If you know about other lives, think about that. What is it that still's there? It's still painful. It still makes you feel like maybe you don't deserve love, or you shouldn't open to love. That's what needs to be let go of. So where are we going? What is this energy leading us to? First card is Love, Hathor, Goddess of Love. We're going to the embodiment of love, our angelic selves. So much healing that's coming through the energy of the goddess right now. Whether masculine or feminine, it's the goddess energy, the heart. Again, it's connecting to that because we need to trust right now. The card here for from the Masters is faith, humanity, and benevolence. Stay calm. Trust the good in yourself and others. See the light in the world. Okay, faith is a reminder to have faith, to see the good, and don't just focus on the bad. I'm going to come back to that. Two cards come up in a lot of places here. The other card is Sekhmet, goddess of rage. Now this card, what I'm getting is not so much rage, although there is a release of rage that is coming up with this trigger that we need to go through. But this card is really about finding our power in a good way, in a good balanced way. It's about finding our own inner strength right now, believing in ourself, believing in our higher self, believing in our path, our wisdom. There's a connection here to the Lion's Gate as well. And a lot of this energy, they're telling me, is connected to what will be happening with the summer solstice portal. There'll be another huge shift there, I'm sure, as well. But this is about feeling empowered in the right way so that we can be ourselves, so we can do our light worker mission, so we can be the embodiment of love, and we can be the parent to the inner child. And when our inner child feels that protective energy from us, then they become more expressive. We become more joyful, playful, creative. And it's really that creative energy that we want to enhance right now. It's about really embodying that high priest energy, which is the divine feminine and masculine. I also hear of Lord Shiva, whose message is also transcendence. Rise up, honor your inner force. Steps are being given, dance with the universe. He says, you are moving through a deep transition, and things will be clearer from this point. You will know exactly what you need to do and where you need to be. This is a powerful time, as you will transcend the limitations that others have set for you. It is a time of innovation, ideas, stargazing, soul traveling, and soul revealing. Shiva, the Lord of the dance, is here with his sacred sound of Om to lead the way. You are in this massive transformation right now. You are transcending. You are growing your pair of wings. So give yourself a break. The message that I want to leave you guys with is about the energy of surrender and trust. This cannot be emphasized enough. When I talked about my other video, or in my other video, I mentioned a vision that I was having about getting cast adrift on the ocean. There's nothing around but water and rough seas and waves, and just trying to stay afloat. And that's the type of surrender that we need right now. Complete and utter surrender. Not keeping our surrender attached to, if this happens, if that happens, if my twin does this, if the universe brings me this, then I can be surrendered. But the minute that my expectations of those things are not met, then I'm no longer surrendered. It has to shift to, I am constantly surrendered. I am constantly in my divine feminine energy of just allowing the universe to do what it needs to do to bring me everything that I'm manifesting, and I'm going to remain in this state of utter trust. Now, you may not be able to trust your twin flame right now, or divine partner. You may not feel capable of that at the moment, and that's okay. Not asking you to. But can you trust yourself? Can you trust your higher self? Can you trust the universe? Your intuition? Can you trust your heart? That is what matters. If you can trust those things, then you're well on your way to just breezing through this. Because that's surrender. Even doing something that you may not want to do, or facing something you may not want to face, that's when we are surrendered. You know, I ask the universe, I don't ask for much anymore, but I just say, how can I serve? What can I do to serve you? Sometimes what comes is not something that I really want to do, maybe. But it always leads to my growth. And so I trust myself in what I'm being called to do. Even if it is, something that I'm very afraid of, but I've learned that when I do trust, everything works out. And so we have to trust right now. We don't really understand why things are what they are. We really don't understand all the karmic implications of what's going on. We don't fully understand what our partner is thinking or why they're making the choices that they're making. You know, and no matter how many cards we pull, how many readings we watch, even if you're in union, you really don't know what your partner's thinking unless you are living inside their head. And so we really don't have an understanding. We often think we do, but we may be putting our own judgments and expectations on that and in clouding up what it is they're actually thinking or wanting. So a lot of the energy right now, I feel, is like it wants us to detach from our partner in a subtle way, you know, not in an angry way, but in a way that just lets each other have their path and their space and their expansion. You don't need to be in union to be love. Don't need to be in union to ascend. You don't need to be in union to do your mission. And that's not to say that you aren't going to be in union someday. But the constant focus on when is union going to happen, again, is creating energy that you no longer want in your life. That's why I'm saying trust yourself. Can you trust your higher self into believing that you deserve love and that you're going to have love in your life? Can you feel that in your heart, that love is going to be something that's there for you? And can you accept that? Not putting a face to that, just accepting that I will receive love, that there is abundance in life. And that love could be your twin. It could be a soulmate. It could be someone from the past. It could be someone that you haven't met yet. When we say open your heart to receive love, that doesn't mean open your heart to receive love from one person. And again, I'm not saying that you won't be with your twin. I'm not saying that there isn't love between you guys. I'm just saying it's a time to be aware of where your limitations are. Because when our heart's open to giving and receiving love, then it has to flow both ways. But if we find ourselves constantly in a situation where we're not receiving any love back, maybe telling us that we need to open up our hearts a little bit more, trust a little bit more, because your higher self isn't going to lead you wrong. Your higher self isn't going to create situations that don't have some kind of potential for you, positive potential, whether it's growth or your future. So I think what I'm trying to say is that another way to just get through this energy is to just believe that you are in your higher. Let me start over again. To focus on just knowing that you deserve love and that you want to open to receive love, and let your higher self align the things that need to align in any way it needs to bring that to you. And if you really trust in that, then you don't need to stress about what's happening, because it's all in divine alignment. And trust me, we are loved. We are protected. I'm going to read this faith card too. That's the end, I think. Stay calm and breathe. It's funny, like there's a lot of cards here that talk about staying calm. You are a divine being of love who has done so much good in the world. You may be going through personal transformations and feel that you're not getting anywhere. But Archangel Faith is drawing you close to guide you beyond the limitations that your ego or fears have created for you. You may be trying to work out whom to trust. First, trust yourself. When you do this and recognize that you are made of love, you will attract those who reflect that love and can enjoy true friendship and loving relationships. Know that good is here to stay. So the last card, I know this is a really long reading. Some of you will like that, some of you won't. What is your message for divine partnerships and twin flames? Number 21, she is the moon. Sorry, that card's not quite clear. There's a nice full moon on that card. The light of the moon ebbs and flows. The wisdom of patience is not about waiting around for something to happen, rather than getting up and getting it done. The wisdom of patience is that of the gardener who consults the lunar calendar. The right timing promotes growth. Planting when there is fertile soil and allowing the soil to rest and replenish when it needs to. You're being asked to check in with your timing. Is now the time for action or for rest? It can change quickly, just like the phases of the moon. If you are unsure, that's okay too. Perhaps you're waiting for more light to reveal the way as the moon grows full. All things come in time. Your message comes through this oracle. Your manifestation is unfolding in perfect timing. If you feel something isn't happening fast enough or is happening quickly and you are unsure if you are really ready, be assured all is well. If something is not clear to you and you would like it to be more so, the clarity you seek will come. Just be with what is happening now and trust. You are moving and growing and all is well. Soon you will see that for yourself. Just as the moon grows full and revealing, even in the midst of the deepest night. The poem is called Waiting. These moments are precious, like jewels on the crown of life. They beckon my heart, forming memories that sparkle with joy, and like the longing of a sweet caress, they draw me near, melting into one, showing what is possible on the journey of life, waiting for the seasons' change. Okay, pretty much summed up the reading. Everything is unfolding just as it should, even though it doesn't seem like it at times, even though we may be having to transcend some of our previously held limitations. There could be fear arising. Just know that it's okay. As I said, trust. Trust in yourself and where your higher self is leading you. And detach from any drama that's going on around you. Just remember that you are love and you will have love. If you would like a personal reading with me, my website is Twinstrology. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you soon.